Welcome back to the channel. Today we will be looking at what the difference between an 1800 player, me, roughly 18 to 1900 versus a 1500. What is the difference? Well, we're going to find out. We have another account verified as my alt account, and we're going to be playing. I guess this is a 1600. Let's aboard. Okay, this is fine. 1550. We found Tango 4. And we have the white pieces, so we're going to go e4. We got the Vienna game. Now, this is one thing. You don't really need to know like a bunch of opening theory at 1500, but it will help. So let's see if my opening theory is superior to the 1500s. So I know a lot of lines here. This is the Vienna Gambit, which I play. So let's see if they know the main move, which is d4. No. Okay, so here's number one thing. They're playing the Vienna Gambit, but they don't know that you really should not accept the Gambit because of this move e5. They go back, which is good. Now it's important not to get tunnel vision. You have to play knight to f3 here. Otherwise, they're threatening, not that. They're threatening to give this check, which can be devastating. Whenever you move the f-pawn, you need to be aware of this diagonal. So let's play knight f3. And now let's see how my opponent follows up here with this this opening that I'm very prepped in. That's, you know, a downfall for them, but if you're going to play e4, you should know what to do against the gambit. Okay, so on this, I believe the move is queen here, and on takes we take with check. We could also just play this, but I'm pretty sure that this is the move. Go here, sometimes they'll play this. You don't want to take. You really don't want to do that, because then he just gets out with activity. So it's either d4 or knight here, or queen here. Also, if I was my opponent, I probably would have focused on development rather than trying to attack the pawn. Now, obviously, he wants to take and protect the pawn, but it's just not going to work. I'm just trying to figure out what the best way... I'm going to play queen here, just pinning the pawn. Because on takes, we just take with check. And we're never worried about him blocking because there's tactics. So if he breaks the pin, we actually have this nice knight d5 move. Well, yeah, so he just takes. Now we can take with check. He's probably going to go here. Or we can just strike in the center with the pawn. Could take with the knight, too. I don't like doing this. I don't want a queen trade. Queen trades are not really great for us. We could play this. And then if you were to take, we take here and we have some powerful knights. Then he just plays this. But I guess the whole point of putting the queen out was to take with check. And then I guess, yeah, maybe d4 was the right move. We could play d4 right now. And he still can't really play that because we just go knight here. So let's go ahead and play d4. Let's keep the tension a little bit. There's no rush to take. So we're currently down 2 pawns. But since I'm prepped in the opening, I know it's okay for me. So yes, you may not need opening theory, but it will help you. I mean, that doesn't really feel that great now, does it? What is the point of this move? I mean, he sees this. But you can't really be playing moves like this when you have no development. And your opponent has almost all their pieces developed now. You can't play like this. So if you play like this and you are 115, this might be your first problem. You need to focus on development. Okay. So I'm not really afraid of that. If anything, this is like, yay. So we could take with the bishop. We could also just castle. Taking with the bishop attacks this immediately. So if we were to go here, what do I actually want to do? Well, then I guess I can just do this because a queen trade then is favorable for me. So here, if they play this, that just can't be a good move because, well, then we just take. So we're going to take with the bishop. Queen blocks is not great. I don't really care about them trading off their only developed piece. Yeah, but I mean, it's the only developed piece that they have. And yes, they do this, but they're only thinking for one thing. They're thinking, once I move this, my queen is pinned. But they completely overlooked that this pawn is gonna be gone and the rook is trapped. So after this, a queen trade is actually favorable for me, not them. So they should be not playing queen here. They probably should have moved the king over to protect the pawn, but that's a hard move to play. Like king here, I don't know. But now we're winning because my opponent didn't know how to play against my gambit. So if you know, usually you're playing similar openings. So you should get well versed in them and know the ideas and the plans. So like this person, if you're going to play the Vienna and you're going to play or you're going to play against the Vienna and you're going to play knight to f6, you need to know what to do after the f4. You just need to. So now we can just take. They go there, but that's not, I didn't care about that. We didn't actually have to take right away, but why not? Now let's just castle. We line up on the f-file. Ah, my opponent is just missing too much. Because now I have this check, and if they go here, we must have a knock-it. I can just play this, actually. I don't need to go here. I can play here, protected by my pawn, attacked by this pawn, but after I move the knight, the pawn becomes pinned. And we're actually going to be able to save this bishop. So we're going to go knight here, check on the king. The king has to move. If he attacks my bishop, I'll take with the bishop. Protect or saving the bishop. Yeah, so now we can just take. And my opponent's in a lot of trouble. I could just go for trades. So this is another thing. If you're up material, just trade down. Because you cannot lose if you trade into an endgame. So this move is the first thing that comes to my mind, but I'm also seeing this check. And I'm wondering if we have any kind of checkmate here. So if I go check, this is cut off. So the only legal move is to go here. So if I go check, king here, check is not possible. Yeah. So I think this is probably just the best move. Protect the pawn, trade off of another piece if they will. They either have to retreat and undevelop their piece, or take and trade down, because I'm threatening to take. It's attacked twice. So my opponent is also, they also have all the time on the clock. They're playing a 15 plus 10, and it's move 17, and they have 14 minutes and 30 seconds, and they're completely lost. So maybe try and like, why are you playing so quickly? Like, this does make sense, but why are you playing so quickly, bro? I mean, I can threaten mate. Let's see if they'll play really quickly. Oh, right. No, it's not. They can just move. Okay, I'm dumb. Okay, but we can win a piece now. Okay, we'll take the piece. My opponent insists on playing on. They cannot move the knight, otherwise we have discovered checks. And can't come forward. Let's just go here and keep everything safe. And we can double up on the knight. Keep it simple. Whenever you're trying to convert positions, you shouldn't complicate it. Just play normal moves that improve and attack and threaten. We're up 10 points of materials, so honestly, yeah, we'll just go here. Might protect, but at that point you could literally just sack the rook and then play the game up 2 pieces. Yeah, we'll just sack the rook because then he only has 4 pawns to play with. He can't win. And we have 2 extra pieces. Okay, and now let's push this pawn. Try to restrict his pieces over here. We're happy to trade. Now let's just put the knight here. He does have a pass pawn, so we gotta be careful. But, yeah, we're not gonna blunder. Yeah, so now my bishop holds everything over here. So now we can bring the king and walk up. If he goes here, we take, or take. If he steps here, we can just take. So once again, we just bring the king. Bring the king, take the pawn. This is completely losing. Everything is protected. The king cannot come in. It's important to take with the pawn or the bishop here so that this does not get loose. You could take with the pawn or king. Either is fine. But taking with the king makes more sense, keeping your pawns protecting each other long term. And he's just going to go for stalemate, so don't stalemate. You can push any pawn. Everything's winning. Okay, so let's look at this and see where my opponent went wrong. So I played with a 94.5, and my opponent played with an 81.9. They didn't play bad, but they just made mistakes out of the opening. So right here, I mean, on move, literally move 4, white has already got quite the advantage. But if you're going to play this opening as black, like this is move 3. If you see this, you need to know what to do. You can't just, you know, take the pawn because, yeah, whatever. So learn your openings and the tricks in them. That's my first piece of advice. If my opponent knew what to do against the Vienna Gambit here, they might have been fine. Or maybe they wouldn't have. Who knows? But, oh, wow. D6 is actually the best move, so I kind of criticize them for that, but okay. And now looking at this, D4 is the best move. Queen E2 is not bad. It wanted me to take with check, but I thought, why rush? But now, this is the first kind of inaccuracy / mistake. C6. I see the idea. You want to stop the knight from coming here, but you can't spend time doing that. You don't have any pieces developed. So develop your damn pieces. Ladies and gents, develop your pieces. Look at this. I got 2 knights and a queen. This bishop's coming out. 4 pieces. You got none and you're pushing a pawn. Okay, bishop comes out. And then bishop here. That's not, you shouldn't be prioritizing trading pieces. Yes, you learn damage your opponent's structure. Pawn endgame. No. Not in this position. Not when this comes with check. Not when you have your king in the center of the board. No. You should be blocking the check in some kind of manner. Because that check is going to open up your king. And it's not going to be good. But we take because we notice that the bishop here also... Okay, here's another thing. When you move a piece, you got to remember what it was protecting. That bishop was protecting the g7 pawn. And that g7 pawn is very important for the rook. So this was a devastating move. They take, once again, I mean, it's your only active piece. You shouldn't be trading it. We take, and then they play queen here, which, yeah, you just can't really do that because it traps your rook. So they spent literally, they have 14 minutes, 38 seconds, and they go up to 14:46. 2 seconds because you get 10 seconds. 2 seconds to play queen e2 or queen e7. You need to. So in this position, you got to ask yourself, after I play queen e7, what is my opponent going to do? And then it should click in your head. You should be like, oh, well, they're probably going to take the pawn, attacking the rook, which I can't protect. And then a queen trade's going to be forced. So I'm going to be down a rook without queens on the board and no activity. So you got to ask yourself, what's my opponent going to do after I make a move? Yes, you should be asking yourself, what does my opponent want? Which I think is what Tango did here. They said, oh, they probably want to come here after taking or something after I block with the queen. So let's stop that. I like it. I like it. But you got to look at what will they play also. And that move was this, which you can't really stop in the Vienna Gambit. But anyways, from here, I mean, then they push the pawn, but that doesn't do anything. You should focus on getting these pieces out. So once again, my opponent, okay, I kind of rushed here. There was no need to take the rook yet. So I could have just developed. But we just take, we simplify. And then castling. So they develop the knight to the edge of the board, which is usually grim. You know, you shouldn't do that. Typically, they should have came for the center. This is a nice outpost. Well, no, it's not. It's not an outpost because I can play this. But you should be looking for the optimum squares for your pieces. And where does the knight go from here? Like, just genuinely? Like, is it gonna go here and then what? Where if you went here, at least you can try to come to this square, attack this pawn. You know, maybe, like, it also protects this. Like, there's a lot of benefits to it. And they also just missed a tactical shot, which was knight here, utilizing the pin. So you see the stronger opponent noticing these tactics. You need to be doing puzzles, a lot of puzzles. Do them every day. If you want to reach 1500, I mean, you got to be doing your puzzles. You got to be doing your puzzles. This guy is 1544, and they didn't even see this. So, um, you can get this 1700, 1800. You can be my level. Like, look at this. King back attacking, but we can just take. And then, I mean, there's not really much to look here. They kind of fought on. I was a little bit silly thinking that I had checkmate here. But, anyways, I mean, this was a nice little trick here. Conversion. Sack the material back sometimes. See, instead of, obsessing over this little +10, sometimes it's better to just trade everything if you are going to be winning in the end game. So I knew they were going to play this, and that's why I was okay giving back a little bit of material, because I have a bishop and a knight, and they only have 4 pawns. So, plus I have more pawns too. Like, I got 2 extra pawns. So I knew that going into this endgame was going to be very favorable. And then here, we just stopped their only counterplay. So it was restricting my opponent. And then I brought the king. And then I'm going to promote. So it didn't even want me. It wanted me to go here. Allowing this. But then you can always just protect. But anyways. Alright, so we're going to hop in and look at one of my older games where I was actually 1327. And let's kind of see what happens here. So I'm playing black. I've always played the Karo Khan, but let's see how much of the Karo Khan I actually knew. Okay, so we know to go there. Bishop out. Yeah, we're just solidifying everything. Probably going to trade the bishop off and then strike in the center. Okay, we strike in the center immediately, which is good. And they check, we just block. Takes, takes. And then we take after they attack me. And we're already better. So on move 9, we just knew our opening better. But why did we lose this game? Let's find out. Takes. We take another pawn. Knight takes. Nowadays, I probably... I don't know if I would have took this, to be honest. I might have... No, I wouldn't... No, never mind. Never mind. I was going to say, I might let them take, but that solidifies this pawn. And in the Caro-Kann, if you can take this pawn and attack this, you're going to be pretty set. So that's probably why I took. But I was thinking maybe let's not give them development. But anyways, this pin is not needed. So one thing that I notice a lot of beginners doing is just pinning everything and then trading it. So let's see, do I trade this bishop off? Because nowadays, I would have left the bishop here. I would have brought the knight and put it here and then put the bishop on this diagonal or tried to push in the center. They go here. We bring the queen out. Okay, this was a problem that I used to have and probably some of you too. Bringing the queen out when you do not need to. This threatens nothing. Obviously, the idea was just like if they move the knight, then I'm protecting the bishop, but if they move the knight, we can just take the bishop with check. So we don't need to do that. Anyways, we go here, and now we are also... Notice how in that last game, my opponent blundered the g7 pawn? Well, in this game, they can actually attack that. And it's kind of difficult to save. Because you either have to bring the bishop all the way back or push. And whenever you push a pawn, you create a weakness. So the dark squares around my king, because I want to castle kingside, would have been weak. And also, I mean, this pawn becomes weak. Like, anyways, now we developed. Good, good. They kicked me away, and we just take, which we kind of had to there. We forced our hand. We can't go here because it gets trapped. If it goes here, I mean, they just come in with tempo and gets kicked around. So, and we push the pawn. But we haven't castled yet. So, should probably do that. And this is also very weakening. Because now your pawn's just going to be overextended and you have to protect it like this. And it's not really the greatest plan. And the bishop just moves to safety. So, I mean, this does look kind of nice here. But if you do this, you actually hang the rook. So, did I do that? I did that. Okay, so I just... how long did I took 6 seconds. Alright, so here's... Yeah. You need to see, whenever you move a pawn, there's something behind it, usually. But, does my 1347 rated opponent see it? No. They see me bishop under attack. Me move bishop when there was just a hanging rook. So, I got lucky there. So you need to be looking out for these. Because if you can catch your opponent's blunders and mistakes, that's what's going to really give you the rating boost. Because your opponents are doing this. Your opponents are making mistakes, and you are too. But if you can make less mistakes and catch your opponent's mistakes, that's what makes you a better chess player. And also, like, I mean, hanging the rook and only having, like, used 1 minute on the clock is just kind of unacceptable. Now they go here. I don't hate it. You're attacking the knight. Knight goes there. Why is that a mistake? Probably because of this. And then the knight can only go to h6. And takes opens up the king. Oh, I found the best move here. Counterattack. You can go back because then... pins the bishop. Oh my gosh. Alright. So we missed that. So there's a lot of blunders going on and tactical things missed. in these lower rated games. We take with the pawn, then they take. We take again. Ugh, you can't really allow this. Well, actually, they can't even go here. They can, but after king h8, they got to get off of that file. Or just move the king, I guess. Yeah, maybe check, and then, like, after here, you move the king. And this. I don't know. But anyways, we take, they give a check. We move, and then, yeah, they had to move. We could take this pawn, and look at our pawn center. It's crazy. But we attack the queen. Me attack queen. They move there. We push the pawn. They want to trade, but now we can come in with check. And this is looking pretty bad for white. Their king is got limited squares, and we got pass pawn galore. So how the hell did we lose this? They go there. We give another check. Check again. And we're just walking the queen up. Why are we not taking? Take an attack? If we just take, they have to do this. Like, and there's no threats here. I guess they don't have to do that, but they can also do this. Check. Probably takes. King takes. Maybe come over for another check. And I mean, yeah, it looks pretty bad. We can just trade and we're up a rook. But we go for checks. Why? Why? Why would you push? You're not promoting. The queen protects and there's two rooks there. Yes, you can... actually, I see the idea. I see the idea. But they can just... Wait, what? Wait, what? They push. We take. And blunder mate in one. Okay. So, we're still better here. Until we make a queen. Because we ignored my opponent's threats. Which was just checkmate. Oh my gosh. We used less than 10 seconds on that too. I mean, it is kind of tricky. You always have to be looking out for, like, whenever you're completely winning, you gotta look out for these little tricks. Like, threatening mate. So what do? You go there. I'm actually confused. It wants this. Yeah, because if they ever take, you just take back and the mate is protected. And now you're gonna threaten to go here and yeah. Okay, so just another game where threats were ignored. So I want to talk a little bit about resources to help you improve. Now, Chessable, as we talked about, like, you should be familiar with some openings that you play. And it doesn't take long, but just create your own course on Chessable and review the lines. Literally, like, this is what you do. You just play the game, basically, and now that opening becomes ingrained in your mind, and you just know what to do against these games, and you'll never blunder out of the opening. And if you ever see a new move that you don't know what to do against it, you just input it in here, and then, you just keep practicing. Practice makes perfect. So I just know how this goes. Go check, you go here. If they play rook here, I think the move is to play rook g1 or this. No, that's incorrect. So when you get something wrong, it does this. It shows you the move. And it's probably to go here, and I think knight here's the move. Oh. Incorrect. No, now it's rook g1. Okay. And then you go here. And then you probably just castle. And then it'll get you to repeat what you got wrong. So that next time you know. And this is how you can be prepared and not get completely lost positions out of your opening. You have to be doing puzzles. Like, you have to be doing these. It's non-negotiable. You have to be doing puzzles. And you should probably be doing them every day, if possible. So let's solve one real quick. So the first thing that I notice, the bishops see each other. My bishop is unprotected. So I need to deal with that. The knights see each other. The knight is only protected by the queen. But if this knight moves, we x-ray the bishop here. So if I take and they take, queen takes, protecting the bishop, and then we have a lot of attackers on here, but the queen would be the one attacking. I don't love that. We could also take, and after rook takes, takes. I'm also noticing that there's a fork here. This is also how you need to be calculating. You should be looking at different moves. So like I'm looking at takes and what happens after. Like what will my opponent do? It seems pretty forced that my opponent will take with the rook. But then you need to come up with the follow-up there. So that's what I'm trying to do. Takes. If they were to take with the rook, that just loses because we have two attackers. So takes, knight takes, pawn takes. I'm looking at rook comes over here. We also need to notice that there are checks here if this pawn takes. So I think we probably just take. Oh no, never mind, never mind. Now that it's on the board, I see the tactic. It's pawn to f6 because after this we have this because this is pinned, and now we just win a piece. So I guess after seeing this, you should probably see f6 beforehand, but sometimes you just need to see it on the board. And as you do these puzzles more and more, you'll become more familiar with these kind of tactics. So once I saw this, I saw, oh, the rook is undefended and it's pinned, or the knight's pinned. So now how should you be playing the opening per se? If you don't know any theory, then you just need to control the center. Just control the center and develop your pieces. We saw in the game at the start that my opponent didn't develop. So that was kind of their issue. So, you know, this is how the Vienna gambit actually should go. They're supposed to play here, targeting the center, not taking the pawn, because they need to realize that there's this. Anyways, the line goes like this. They can't play here, but probably just develop. And then you got to play d4. But notice how they're starting to develop. They're fighting for the center. And they can go into an endgame here. We're going to pretend like they don't. Queen e6 or bishop e6. They just protect the weak pawn. Probably play something like this, making it hard for them to develop the bishop. Make room here. And then we're going to develop. My opponent will probably develop as well. So queen d7, getting ready to castle. If you can castle early, then there's a lot less chances that you get completely overrun like my opponent did in that first game. So something like this, long castles, I don't know, knight f3 trying to castle. And notice how we're fighting for the center. We're not going for any crazy tactics. We're just developing our pieces, putting them on optimal squares. Like my opponent, a good plan for black here. Let's switch this. How beautiful would it be if you could get a knight to this square? Obviously, right now it's not applicable, but let's just pretend like this bishop doesn't control. Let's say it takes for some reason, and you get, not that, you get a knight here, blockading these pawns. Like, that looks so good. Even, so you want to be trying to look for great squares for your pieces. This bishop sucks, so you're going to want to improve that. This would be a very good diagonal for it. So maybe long term you're looking to bring the bishop back this way and apply some pressure to this isolated pawn. I guess it's not isolated, but you get what I'm saying. You need to be improving your pieces before trying to attack. Like basic end games. Like you should know that this is a draw. Like just very basic stuff. And I'll link a course in the description that you can look at. But as black, you should know how to draw this. So like if king here, you don't go here, you're losing now. You need to know that you need to stay in opposition. So if they go here, well, now you can probably just attack the pawn. And, you know, there's this. What would you play here? You probably just stay in front. Yeah, you just stay in front of. And then if he repeats, then you're happy with the draw because you're down a pawn. Now you should know, this is very similar, but it's black to move, and white has the opposition and they're in front of their pawn, which means they win. The king is basically forced into a bad move. You just keep the opposition, and at some point you could go here, and if they go here, you just hop right in. And basically you're trying to walk your king up to this square. If they play here, you could probably just play this. So the opposition in pawn endgames you need to know about. You're forcing the king into bad moves. Where if way back here it was white to move, they have to give up the opposition. And this would be a draw because black will just keep the opposition, stay in front, and not allow the pawn to advance. I think this is a very basic one, but you need to know how to checkmate with a queen. Usually just cut the king off and keep the L opposition, and then eventually they're going to be forced to the back rank, and then once they only have these two squares, you just bring the king, making sure that you do not stalemate. And once you get a position like this, it's checkmate. Very easy. Same thing with the rook. Now we're going to do the box method. The box method you should just learn right out of the gate because it's the fastest. It will help you in blitz. Anyways, so we're going to start by cutting the king. We're going to keep this box small as possible. And every time that they allow you to make the box smaller, you just do that. Let's say that they go here, you just protect with your king. If they go here, you make the box smaller. Once again, they go here. Now, you can't make the box smaller, so we're going to move the king. We're going to go here. They go here. Now, you don't want to play this, allowing the king out. So we're just going to make a king move. Now, if he goes to the back rank, you can go here. But if they go here, you just, once again, make the box smaller. And now they're on the back rank. You can go here. They play here. And, I mean, there's probably a lot of ways that you can checkmate from this. But I would just make a waiting move and then play like this. And if they go here, it's checkmate. If they go here, then you just step here. And when they go here, it's checkmate. Those two are probably the only ones that you really need to know. Just make sure that you're not stalemating any completely winning positions. You don't need to know how to checkmate with a bishop and a knight. Obviously, it's cool, but the likes of you even getting a bishop and knight endgame where you need to checkmate with them, highly unlikely. I'm 1900 and I've never got one. Don't waste your time doing that. And obviously there's more than this, but like I said, I'll link in the description the course that has a lot of great endgame stuff. And don't neglect endgames. You need them a lot. You'll improve your chess a lot by doing your endgame study alongside a little bit of your opening study. Some people are like, you don't need openings, but if you have the time for them, it can't hurt. It won't hurt to know your openings and your middle game. You know, you need to come up with good plans. So, like I mentioned in some of the other clips there, trying to improve your pieces to the best piece possible. That's a good plan. Lastly, this one kind of hurts me because, you know, I'm victim of it. I know a lot of you guys are too, but learn to stop. I know we all love playing this game of chess, but if you were losing 4 in a row to win one, you're not going to improve, and it's just going to get worse. You win that one, then you lose, and then you win, and then you lose two, and then you get a draw, and then you lose another two, and then you win one, and you get that dopamine spike. But by the time that you've won one, you've lost 50 elo. So you need to learn how to control the tilt, because you can't be playing 10-minute rapid chess as if it's Blitz. Blitz, you can go and go and go and go. But with rapid, it takes so much of your mind to think. Like in this one day, I played a ton of games. Way too many games. Holy crap. It was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 34. I don't even know if there's more, but that's a lot of damn games. Just to lose a bunch of elo and then feel worse afterwards because you just lost a bunch of elo. Just control it. If you're going on losing streaks, stop and just go do puzzles or refresh on your opening, play some blitz. Now, obviously, if you tilt, you're going to make a comeback eventually, but you've just worked so hard to gain that elo. Why not chillax and just play chess when you're completely focused? You're going to lose games, it's okay. But don't chase after the win. Don't do it. Chess is a big mindset thing. So once you start losing and playing bad, you just keep doing that, and then you're going to feel shitty. And then you're going to play worse chess. And then next thing you know, you've lost 150 elo. Get an alt account if you want to do that, but my recommendation is just play rapid chess when you're feeling tip top and only when you're feeling nice and sharp. That's what I would recommend to you. And I hope you got some value from this video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and check out my daily videos where I post my live thoughts as an 1800 player playing against other strong players. Take care.